Good morning. Happy Supercharged Manifesting Monday. Good morning to you. Today, we're going to be talking about overcoming your fears. I'm going to share my own three-step process that I use every time to deal with those little gremlins that we call fear. So as I'm waiting for all our friends to join from all over the world, I want to ask you to start thinking about, what are you afraid of? What are some things in your life that just, sabotage all your dreams, all your goals, all your best intentions, all the wonderful things that you want to create in your life, and you just feel stuck because you're so afraid? Of course, as you know, life gives me content. And so I had my own very paralyzing feeling, fearful, like just drudgery experience recently that I'm going to share with you guys. But for right now, start thinking, what are you afraid of? Good morning, Gina. Hey, Nancy. Good morning. Oh, hi, Barbara. So many friends. I love it. Good morning. Hey, Sarah. Evangela, nice to see you. Good morning. Good morning. All right, so as this video is getting shared, I just want to say, joining me here every Monday morning at 8 a.m., it lights my morning up. I get to start the week off in such high energy, knowing that through Facebook, I get to deposit a nice little, I like to call it, inspirational coffee first thing on a Monday morning to kick the week off in high vibration, getting you guys really just thinking about your life and how to manifest the things that you want. And sometimes that conversation has to go into, and what's stopping you from manifesting the life that you want. So, hey, Cami, good morning. All right, so this morning, we're talking about fears and how to overcome them. And many of you know that I just completed last weekend, not this past one, but the one before, our annual 3-day manifesting event. And boy, did my fears rear their ugly heads. And I love coming and sharing with you guys, because you know what? I think a lot of times people look at me or other coaches or people who teach about law of attraction and manifesting and think, they got it made. They know how to do this. They never worry about stuff. They don't have any fears. They don't have any problems in their life. And I just love coming on here and shattering that for all of you, because here's the truth. I'm just like you. I go through life's experiences. I have fears. I worry. I get anxious. All of it happens to me. But here's the thing, is that I live what we call a certain way. And so even though life is happening, because I'm committed to this way of life, to learning the principles and applying them, when life happens, I have the tools to help me shift and change and get back into my power. So this morning, I want to ask you guys, what are you afraid of? What are some things that cripple you in your life with fear? And truthfully, the more important question is, what is it causing you to attract in your life? So, you might very well be aware of your fears, like, I'm afraid of not having enough money. I'm afraid of not getting in a great relationship. I'm afraid of my business not succeeding. I'm afraid of dying. I'm afraid of not fulfilling my dreams. I'm afraid of what my family will think. What are some of the things? So failure, I'm afraid of failure. I love it. So, those are some of the things that I want you guys to think of. What are you afraid of? Bring that first to mind. But the really powerful question here is, what is it causing you to attract in your life? Because everything is energy. And if you have the energy of fear around a certain thing in your life, then I want you to sit back for a moment and look at, and what's that causing me to attract in my life? So if you're afraid of failure, are you succeeding? Are you attracting success? For example, you're afraid of what your family might say. Are you attracting scenarios where they're supportive, they're encouraging, they believe in you? Really start thinking about that. Ending up a bag lady with no retirement income. Catherine says, ending up, that's her fear. And so I'm so grateful, first of all, that I have this incredible tribe that gets on here on a Monday morning, and you guys are so willing to be vulnerable and to share and to be honest about the things that are happening, because through awareness and just straight plain out honesty, we can create transformation. But if you keep hiding behind it, then there's no room to transform, right? So I want to ask you, Christina says, I'm afraid of success. It's a big responsibility. So Christina, awesome awareness. And now, what is that attracting in your life? Are you attracting the kind of success that you would like at the level and expansiveness and frequency, that you would like, or not? What are you attracting? Are you attracting really small opportunities? Yes, you are. Your success is growing, but is it really small and tiny, or are you getting the big, massive opportunities that you would like? I'm afraid of rejection. Michelle says, I'm afraid of rejection. So Michelle, how does that show up? What does that fear cause you to attract in your life? Guys, I promise you, this is really powerful. I know we always talk about overcoming your fears. What are you afraid of? And then we go on into, well, here's how you overcome them. But I'm committed to way more than just you becoming aware of what you're afraid of. I want you to connect the dots for yourself. I don't want to just tell you. I want you to be in this experience with me. So I want you to connect the dots for you. Think about what you're afraid of. Like, imagine writing it down at the top of a blank sheet of paper. I'm afraid of rejection. Now I want you to look in your life at all the ways that you do attract rejection. I'm afraid of failing to succeed. Look at all the ways that you attract not succeeding. Just start to look at it, because it's really like, we don't need a crystal ball. We don't need, big, massive intuition to figure this stuff out. It's playing out in our life because the law of attraction works. Whether you're thinking about great, amazing things or not so great and amazing things. And the thing is, because your fears are so charged, they keep you awake at night. They make you worry. They make you stressed. They make you anxious. They are so charged energetically that they're attracting even more powerfully than the stuff that you are working on bringing into your life, that you are thinking positive thoughts around, that you're feeling good about, that you're journaling around. Like, you're doing all that great stuff, but over here you have these fears, and they're attracting more powerfully. So in my commitment to you, to have the most amazing life, to manifest your dreams, I have to shed light on this stuff too, because I know that it's also attracting, right? So here we go. I want you now to think of, actually what I want to do is share my fears, because I'm always willing to be vulnerable. So I have worked through fears around money. I've worked through fears around being alone. I've worked through fears around success. And really, it's probably, I always thought, I've worked through, at first I thought, man, I'm not afraid of succeeding, until I saw how I wasn't succeeding. And then I realized, wait a second, I actually am really afraid of that, because one of my top 3 values is relationships. And so in my awareness, what I realized was, I felt if I succeeded, it would cost me my relationships. And guess what, guys? It did. The moment my trajectory started off in my success, like in my business, I got divorced, right? My biggest fear materialized. So having that awareness really helped me to work around, wow, this fear of success thing. So now I work through that, and now I realize here comes another thing to work on, because my next fear is fear of not succeeding. And so I'm going to share with you how that shows up. Many of you know, I recently had a 3-day event. This event is our big deal, like splash, big event, once a year event. And as I was planning for it, we had all these things in place that would lead to this being an incredibly successful event. My intention was to have 250 to 300 people at this event. And so as the things that we had in place to create that result started, unfolding, we weren't getting the results. And I realized when I stepped back and I was like, what's going on here? Because it always comes back to you, always comes back to me. So I said, what's going on here? I realized for some reason this time I was really afraid of not having the level of success that we've had in the past. I was really afraid of that. I don't know where that fear come from. We never usually know sometimes, do we? Sometimes we can't make sense of it. But I recognized that fear was there. And so a week and a half before the event, guess what? We only had 50 people registered. 50 people registered for an event that my intention was to have 250 to 300 people. So let me just connect the dots for you. My fear was attracting the exact outcome that I was the most worried about. So I want you to see, and I want you to share, because that's so public in my life. You guys all got to see the event unfold. Many of you attended. You know, you get to see the stuff that I'm talking about. So, you know, it's like real time, right? I'm not making this up. A week and a half before, we're on the phone with my coach, my mentor, asking, so what are the numbers? And Diane says, we have probably about 50 plus people. And I go, oh my gosh, the fear is real. It manifested. It sure did. So what do you do? Which is what I want to share with you, how I overcame my fear of failing, and how you can use these 3 things to overcome any fear that you have. Because I promise you, I've used this time and time and time and time again, and it works every single time. So first thing, before I share with you the 3 steps, here's what I want you to know. The biggest thing you fear, the worst case scenario in your fear, is actually not the worst case. It's not the worst thing that can happen. So whatever you're fearing, right? So like Catherine said, I'm afraid that I'll end up a bag lady with no retirement. And so you're thinking that's the worst case that can happen. But I'm here to tell you that's actually not the worst thing that can happen. You're spending all this time worrying about that, and what you don't realize is the worst thing that is happening right now as you're in that fear is you're feeling stressed, you're having anxiety, you're not enjoying life, you're losing sleep, you're not showing up in your relationships, you're unhappy, you're unhealthy, you're frustrated. And I could go on and on and on and on and on. And here's the thing. All of those things are more powerfully robbing you of enjoying life, not living in the moment, than this thing you fear way down the road that's going to happen someday. To me, that's not the worst case scenario. The fact that I'm a prisoner in my own life because of my fears, and I get to carry that every single day, every moment by moment, to me, that's the worst case. The now is the worst thing happening. So start to think about it like that, right? Start to really think about this stuff you're worried about in the future is not happening, first of all, but what is it costing you right now? What is the price you're paying for that fear in your life right now? Big deal, big stuff. And then here's what I want you to do. I want you to think of the thing you fear the most, and think about the complete opposite. What is the best case scenario? So for me, coming to the realization that we're at 50 people registered for this event, it's a week and a half away, realizing my fears have absolutely manifested the outcome that I was worried the most about, I said to myself, okay, Tasha, you've been here before, you know what to do, let's get to work. I took out my journal and I said, what is the best case scenario? At this point, there's a week and a half to go. What is the best outcome that I can imagine? And here was number 1. I could imagine the best case scenario, the right people are going to be in the room and the room is going to be full. Now, it might have to be a tiny room, but the room's going to be full and the right people are going to be in the room. Number 2, the people that are in the room are going to have such an incredible life-transforming experience. That's going to fill my heart with so much joy, way more than having 250 people just kind of be in there. You know, just 250, not the right people, just kind of filling the seats. That does not fill my heart with joy. So I sat there and I was like, what's the best case scenario? The best case is the people that are there every single person leaves the event feeling loved, supported, connected, and like they had a transformational experience. That would be the best case scenario. And the third thing in my best case scenario is that I added incredible value. Whatever I shared was just of the highest value. It was just God channeling through me. And I sat there and was like, if these three things happen, I'll be the happiest girl on this planet. This is my best case scenario. And so what does that do when you go into your best case scenario? Your fears start going, wow, okay, that's possible. Sure, she can do that. She can have that. Oh my God, wait a minute. I have no more leg to stand on. Your fears literally start disappearing. They have no more leg to stand on because you are now feeding your mind and your thoughts with this amazing best case that you absolutely want, right? So start thinking about, for you, whatever it is that you've been fearing, what is a best case scenario that could happen? And it could be just three things. Just don't overcomplicate it. Think of three things. So Catherine, you're just easy to remember now. So hopefully you don't feel picked on. But I love your example because you know what? Girlfriend, it is the truth. You are not the only person watching who sits there and worries about having enough money in retirement. Heck, just being able to retire. You're not the only person. I know, hand raised, right? Those are some things that I think about. So what is the best case scenario? The best case scenario is that this year I get to put away $50,000 towards retirement easily. The best case, number one, I get to put away $50,000 towards retirement. The best case scenario is I get to begin saving for retirement. Maybe that's you. Maybe this year you get to begin putting away $50 a month for retirement. The best case scenario is, you know, it's retirement time and something in your financial reality allows you to get a big lump sum. Like maybe you have a house that you own and by the time you retire, it'll be paid off and you'll have lots of equity and you can downsize. I mean, what are the best case scenarios? Just start thinking about that. And then, okay, sorry, I'm looking at the comments, just making sure that you guys don't have any questions for me. So, banishing fear, the three things that I do. Here we go. Get your pens and paper, start typing. I love when you guys type so I know that you are reading, right? I'm sorry, so I know I'm reading. That's what just happened, I'm reading. So I know that you're following along. So here we go, the thing you've been waiting for, the top three steps, the three steps that I take to banish fear, period, no matter what the scenario is. Number one, I write out the best case scenario. I literally do. I don't just think it. I get a sheet of paper and I write it out. Writing it creates it. You've heard me say that over and over and over again. When you have it in your mind, you know, your ego, it's like infertile ground for your ego. It gets to play around up there in your head and it gets to tell you that can't happen. You know that's not going to work. You know it's not working. But when you write it out, pen and paper is the cheapest way to live the life you want. Pen and paper. Write out the best case scenario. Make yourself see it as a fact and as a reality. Something about the written word, my friends, I can't get into the science right now. Just trust me on this one. That's where your power lies. Writing out the best case scenario. Number two, you must feel it and feed it. So write that down. Feel it and feed it. If you are going to get rid of this fear, first you have to write it down and then you have to work on putting in your mind a new feeling and you have to see it, feel it, believe it, right? So feel it and feed it. What do I mean by that? Visualizing. What did I do after we realized we were at 50 people? My friends, I did not start phoning people nonstop. I did not start going to events. I did not do crazy anything. I shut myself in my room every morning and I visualized the heck out of the room being full and me standing at the door, walking into the room going, oh my God, I don't know how this happened, but thank you, thank you, thank you. And I fed that dream. I felt the feelings in my body of how grateful I was going to be. I'm telling you what, I cried, I laughed, I was in awe. I did it all in my visualizing. I felt it first. And then once I had that vision of the room being full, I fed that vision over and over at every chance I got. I'd be driving to pick up my son. There it was, me seeing the room full. I'd be going to the grocery store. There it was, me seeing the room full. Last thing before I went to bed, I shut my eyes. There it was. I'm feeling it. I see it. I'm so grateful. Oh my God, look at all those beautiful people. The stage is so amazing. Feed it. Feed it and feel it. And then the third one is affirm the truth. Because I promise you, you've been in this pattern of fear for a long time. You're not going to do the first two things and the fear is going to go away this afternoon. It's not going to happen. I cannot promise you that. But what I can promise you is if you create an affirmation that is the truth, you create something that you say, right, that is the truth for you, that you feel and trust in powerfully, then you start to, every time that fear comes up, you literally speak to it and you tell it the truth. So here's my truth. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's my truth. So here comes my fear. I've written it down. I've fed and visualized. And then here comes, the little thing in my head that wants to remind me to be afraid. And what do? I'm like, really? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. There you go. Bam, shut the door. Goodbye. So create an affirmation for you. What is the thing that you are going to say when your fears start popping up in your mind after you've done the first two things? All right, so I'll repeat them again. Number one, you want to write out your best case scenario. Think of the fear and think of the complete opposite ideal. It's worked out. What is it? Write it out and describe it. That's number one. Number two, you want to create a scene of this ideal and you want to visualize and you want to feel it. Feel how happy you are, how joyous you are, relieved, whatever it is. Feel it and then feed that vision every day. And number three is when the fears arise and they start talking in your head, have a statement ready to go that you're going to literally speak to those fears in response to negate them, right? So my friends, that's it. That's it. Everything is always working out for me. Christy, I love that. Everything is always working out for me. I can't tell you how many times I've said that. That's one of my other favorites. Like, I just have them ready to go. I have them on speed dial. You know what I mean? And you got to have them on speed dial, right? Be ready to affirm your truth because you've spent a long time in this, allowing this fear to take root in your mind. And you're not just going to decide today, go away, and it's going to go. It's been having a great time, enjoying free rent, food, meals, shelter, all of it. It's pretty cozy there in your mind. And now you want to say go. It's not just going to get up and walk out. So you're going to have to do a few things to let it go, right? So with that, have an amazing day, all of you. Go, just have an incredible week. And here's a hashtag for today. Hashtag total faith. Hashtag total faith this week. As you go into this week, really spend a few moments as this is complete. Spend a few moments with this work that we just did. Ask yourself about your fears. Be honest about them. Ask yourself, and what is this causing me to attract in my life? Because you don't need to, it's not rocket science. It's showing up in your life. You can see it. It's really clear. So once you have an awareness of what it's attracting, then you can do the three things to banish it, overcome it, get rid of it, bye-bye. Like Echo says, shut the door. All right, so hashtag total faith. Go have a faith-filled week. Mwah! I love you guys. Happy Manifesting Monday. Bye-bye.